Today we're speaking about shaft seals, what they are doing, how they are working, what's the difference in the material, in the function. All of this I will tell you today. My name is Florian Kiziak, I'm from Ehring, I'm today with FCP Aero. Let's start. So we are focusing on shaft seals, where they are located. So classical shaft seals you will find on a camshaft, you will find on a crankshaft, you will find on axles, all things what are rotating has to be sealed against any kind of liquid which should not going outside. So we want to keep the oil inside or any kind of fluid, and this is more or less the purpose of a shaft seal. So, but we have different kind of technologies, and I will tell you all the different kind of technologies about the shaft seals. The classical shaft seal, so what more or less like everybody knows, is that one with a spring-loaded back and well known in the market as a Zimmer ring, because this kind of name was invented by the guy who is inventing this kind of ring. And the technology is quite simple. We have a rubber material outside and even like inside, and this inside material is touching against the shaft, and it seals all the liquids from the inside to the outside, and it's not dropping out. But there's even more. As I told you, in the back we have a spring, and the spring load makes more or less like 20% of the sealing technology of this kind of oil seal. So that means 80% is made by the rubber, better known as elastomer. So if the rubber, and this is a normal procedure, it's getting old and hard, then you're losing the sealing function. So that is the reason why you have also a leaking on your crankshaft seal, for example, that slowly it's starting and then you have to change it because the material is getting hard. So that is the reason why you have to change the oil seal. So coming to the next technology, and this is now a PTFE oil seal. But why does the technology change? Because also the engine's getting more modern, different kind of material was used, and the main purpose was to reduce frictions inside the engine to save more fuel. So they came up with the idea to reduce the frictions on the shaft, and if you can reduce the frictions on the shaft, then you can reduce also your fuel consumption. So that was the reason why nowadays you will also find in modern engines these PTFE oil seals. The design is a little bit different, and even like the sealing lip is very sensitive. There's also one of the reasons why you have a transportation device inside in the shaft seal, that it protects the very sensitive sealing lip. Because if you take a detailed view on this kind of oil seal, then we see we have also outside shoulder, it's made out of rubber, also a little bit of metal is integrated, but the sealing lip is separated, so it's glued in to the metal frame, and this is made out of PTFE. So the PTFE is a self-lubrication material, so that means like we don't need anymore the oil from inside to make a proper sealing job or a lubrication job on the shaft side, so we don't want to have any oil in between. And this is one of the reasons why you have really to fulfill all the necessary steps. I will mention this more later in detail to you in the installation process. If you do it like the same as you know the classical oil seals, you will fail with this kind of new shaft seal. So please take care about that. You really take care about all the necessary steps what we are putting on the paper, which is coming together with the shaft seal made out of PTFE. The classical oil seals was designed until to the mid-2000s for engines around there, and then it was necessary to reduce the frictions inside in the engine. Then they came up with a new technology, PTFE. So if you have your engine has more or less the classical design, stay with it. It's designed, this engine, for this kind of oil shaft seal. So it means don't do an upgrade to another one, even like if you find the same dimensions. Oftentimes even the shafts, they don't like to have this PTFE shaft seals for any kind of reason. So in this case, stay with a classical design for your engine. If you have that one, don't go one step back and replace it to the old one. That's also some typical things we cannot recommend. There's a reason for it, why this is installed, and then stay with the same technology always on your engine. This new, more or less like new technology is very similar to the PTFE oil seal. If we compare this, the design, it looks like the same. We only have a drag lip. We are no more pressing against the shaft. We are laying on the shaft. That's a major thing. And we also have no spring anymore here in the back. But the benefit, it's made out of our elastomer material outside and even inside. So that is quite a big benefit, that we have also less frictions to the shaft. And also for the installation process, we can save one very important necessary step, which speeds up the whole process for the installation of this oil seal, and also reduce any kind of mistakes from your side that you have, again, leaking in a short way. But you have also to keep some very important steps for the installation of this shaft seal. So the shaft seals with the housing, they're just one part out of it. It's glued in, so you cannot separate the inner from the outer side. So it's one piece, and you have to change the completely part to the new, to the old one. So it means you cannot only change the inner part, so you have to remove the whole part, like as you see here, and replace it to a new one. So we have here the shaft seal with the housing, and there are different kind of processes how you're installing, but before we are going to install it to this engine, I will explain you the classical ways and what's the difference during the installation of the oil seal. So the classical design, so it means with the spring, you have to check that everything is more or less like clean of the shaft where you want to put it in. You have also to check if there are any kind of grooves. If there is a groove, then put the shaft seal more inside or even more outside, that it's not going into the groove. That's very important, because otherwise it could be coming to a leak. And then it's quite simple. You use a little bit a thin oil film on the inner side, because it's necessary that we don't destroy our sealing lip over the edge, and then just put it equal into the housing. That's quite simple, and then you can go ahead and start the engine. There's nothing special. But with the new PTFE oil seals, this is more or less like nowadays a bigger challenge for you, because the PTFE oil seals, they're coming also with a small piece of paper, because it's a very important instruction. And in the back you will see in the beginning you have to check that really the oil seal with the transportation device inside is in good conditions. There's no misleading, because it's very sensitive, this PTFE oil seal, about scratches and deformations. But coming to the OF rings, there's a big benefit. Of course, you have also to inspect the shafts that they are in good conditions. But there's also one nice thing, you also don't need oil. It comes slightly oiled out of the packing oftentimes. And it's also recommended to use a protection device if you put this over the shaft, because this very thin lip can also bend it to the outside. This is something that you should avoid. And then you have not to wait the 4 hours, because this is also made out of this elastomer material, FPM, and it's immediately working. So you can save the time of the waiting and also reduce the risk of any kind of leaking. So this OF rings has really quite the benefit that you have not to wait anymore the 4 hours, but now we are focusing on our shaft seals with the housing. So we want to install this now to our engine, but before installing this kind of shaft seal, we have to remove the old one, we have to clean the surrounding, we have to inspect the shaft if there's in good condition, and then we have to fulfill all the 4 necessary steps, because this shaft seal is also made out of PTFE, and we have to fix it inside into the engine. So now we are ready to remove the old oil seal. So that means like we have to remove all the bolts, then we have to crack it because it's glued in with an RTV. So the housing is sealed here, as you see here around, with RTV, and let's go ahead. All right, so we see there's used nice RTV. Here it's not separating, but here's a little bit too much, as you see. And this is really the point which can also go into your engine and also destroy your engine. So be careful with applying the right amount of this RTV later on the housing. I will show you how you do it in a proper way. So what you're gonna see now here is like the shaft has also here some groove where we see, okay, the sealing lip was working. Before we are installing our new shaft seal with the housing, we have to clean up everything. We have to inspect the shaft if there's any cracks, if there's any dirt. So we have to clean everything. Give me a little bit of time. It's very important to clean the completely surrounding. As better if you're spending time for cleaning, as better is the sealing job done. So let's go and clean everything in a good way. So even like the seal is leaking, because the reason it's also the material is getting old. It starts with more or less like slowly dripping oil. Even like the dirt has also a high influence about the sealing technology. So if there's coming a lot of dirt around it, then it also can lead to some leaking. And if once a time you open up more or less like the connection from the sealing lip to the shaft, then it starts more or less like slowly leaking. So that is also a lot of different kind of reasons why you have to change more or less like the shaft seal to a new one. So in this case, the RTV did the job in a quite good way. Could be also even happened if you not apply the right one, or even like too less, or even too much. Too much is, we talked about what could be also come to any kind of failures. So here we have really now to change to the new product, and now we're doing this in a proper way, and I show you now the right steps to install it. So we have our new housing. Before we install it, we have to apply here on the back, directly here on the line, as you see on the groove, our RTV, because we have here these spots where we have two different kind of parts which are coming together, and here we want to have adding an extra amount of RTV. So it means a hazelnut size like here and there, to be on the safe side. Everything is sealed in a proper way, but here around we are very careful that not too much of this amount is going inside and more or less like disturbing our sealing lip. Less is more. You can cut the nozzle in a small amount, so it means in a V shape is one of the things, but also if you cut it really in a small nozzle here in front, that works also fine. And let's see if we can apply it in a different way. So this amount is quite enough to apply it to the surface. Now we have the 5 to 15 minutes time to put this new shaft seal back to the engine. So don't waste the time, let's go ahead. What is very important is now that we still left our protection device inside, that we don't touch with the edge of the shaft our sealing lip. We are going in the right position carefully, checking out that we are finding the right spot. Push it slowly over. What you see, I didn't use any kind of lubrication, no oil, nothing is necessary. As I explained, we're inspecting the shaft. If it's in good condition, it's done. Now we can remove this protection device. Everything is in. Yep, it's on point, because we have here also these two position devices. They keeps us in the right spot. So as always, it's very important that you go with the right specs, with the right order, with the new bolts, because they have also to replace, because the new ones comes with a thread locker on it. If you don't have a thread locker, you can use any kind of other thread lockers to put it on the screws. And this is very essential and very necessary. So before you install it, take care that you have really the new bolts and all the specs with you, that you have done the job in a proper way. All right, very important is now, of course, we know 30 minutes is enough time for the RTV, but we're speaking here about a PTFE oil seal. And as you see on our picture, we have now to wait the 4 hours before we starting that engine. So in this case, be patient, wait for the 4 hours, and then you can start up the engine without any problems. So I hope you learned new techniques, new informations about shaft seals. If you're looking for more informations about how to install shaft seals and even more, check out FCP Aero. They have really a good of DIY videos for different kind of type of engines. If you have still questions for ARINC, for us, or even for FCP Aero, please leave a comment below. So thank you for watching. See you next time.